They're going to see what I'm trying to capture and what I'm trying to convey immediately. A lot of times the parents or the adults do not. The Other Side is one of those books. Each Kindness is another one of those books. Across the Alley. Lily Brown's paintings. Sometimes My Mama Gets Angry. It's a tough book about a little girl whose mother is going through some, actually she's suffering from bipolar disorder, and dealing with that and hearing the stories, because when you read those and share those stories, then they tell you about their experiences. And that's one of the things that I like doing that in schools when I'm going to visit, because I'm trying to get the teachers to understand what they need to understand in the situation, because they come into a classroom and many of them have not gone to the homes and to the churches of these schools, of these students that they're actually involved with. And so they make assumptions, and the teacher should never make an assumption. And the assumptions that are made or not made is that, well, not knowing, I should say, that some of these kids are coming from really tough situations on a regular day, on a regular basis. And mom is angry all the time, and she's angry for a number of reasons. She's angry because she's doing this job by herself, and or she's coming back, and Dad, who's been waiting for this job, and then the notice was supposed to come, get the job that she's anticipating. The child gets home and finds out that the job didn't come. So here's another month or however long that anguish has to continue. And those are the kind of things. And so these books help that, because it starts the dialogue. It helps teachers start to, because when they start, because the kids, they'll tell you, that my brother, they just found my brother, the other day. They found him and they're going to deal with that. So that becomes the type of stories that I do. If you look at my work, the common thread of my work is that they're really strong human interest stories, stories that really are dealing with strong emotional issues. And I think the publishers now recognize that if it's an emotional context that comes across at an editor's desk, 9 times out of 10 they will probably get me to do it. And so that's what I do, and I don't mind. That's what I do. I have to be careful. I remember hearing Abby Lincoln. She was talking to Billie Holiday. She said, came to her talking about how she's ailing, and Abby told her that she needs to stop singing those sad songs because they're like a prayer that you say over and over to yourself. And so that's the same here. There's a time when I need to stop doing those sad books, and I pick up a manuscript like Lily Brown's paintings. It becomes free, and it's a different experience.
Where do you see children's books going in the next 10, 20 years? Do you see fundamental changes afoot? Or
I'm concerned about it. It's because now you're hearing authors, publishers talking about texts are becoming, the books are heavy text now. And we're going to need to, you'll see, actually I'm seeing it already, that the text is becoming lighter and lighter. The books are becoming more non-threatening, and not dealing with tough issues anymore. They're trying to move away from that. And that's okay for as long as you have the other, as long as there's a balance. And so I'm concerned that there won't be a balance. The stories, the solid stories, the quiet stories. Sometimes those quiet stories are very important. Very important. Thinking of a quiet story of mine.
Well, The Other Side is a quiet story.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I was trying
there are many of them.
There's been many, but yeah.
Each Kindness.
Each Kindness, yeah. Each Kindness.
And that was well received, and is a present day.
It was, Jackie is this.
Yeah. Well, it's the
Yeah.
it's the combo.
Jackie
That'll
can
make,
tell
you
a
know.
quiet story in a way, man, that, you know, just
Two
makes-
big names to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
attach two big names to a quiet story and it'll get done.
Yeah, you know, Jackie tells a quiet story in a whole different, you know, process. It makes you kind of stand up and pay attention. But no, there are just quiet stories that, this T.K. Shatash. It's a very quiet story, but very powerful because children are dealing with grandparents now who are going through the issues of losing facilities, you know, and how they deal with that. Tough things. And so do we stop telling those stories in place of, you know, kitten stories? No. I think there's room for both. I think it's needed for both. Our society hasn't changed. Issues continue to be the same. We still face the same things that we've been facing when we go back to Bright April.